Let's start the show by putting the spotlight on Euler Motors. Well, EV-focused automotive OEM Euler Motors has secured 638 crore rupees, and that in a Series D funding round. It was spearheaded by MotoCorp with participation from British International Investment. In fact, the funds that the company has raised are expected to help fuel sales, service networks, and also help in new product development. The company, remember, so far has raised approximately 1,420 crore rupees, and that's in various preceding funding rounds. So the big question then is, what is the plan ahead for the company? How does it plan to deploy the funding? We have a lot more to decode with Euler Motors CEO and founder Saurav Kumar. Thank you very much, Saurav, for joining us here this evening. I understand that you're looking at deploying this new funding to advance new product development, fuel sales, service networks. But what other than these will be your key focus areas as far as deploying this funding is concerned?
So thanks for having me on this show. Yes, today is a great day. We have onboarded MotoCorp and as a strategic investor, and PII, which is already an existing investor, has also increased stake in the company. So which is like a good boost to what we are doing, and that reflects confidence in terms of what we are going to do with this capital. We are looking at 100%, I would say, at least revenue increase between the last and the coming financial year. And that we would be doing by increasing the number of cities. We are roughly in 40 cities at this point of time. We would want to get to hundreds of cities over the next 1 year. But at the same time, we would want to continue delivering the amazing customer experience that you have with Euler vehicles. So that means we'll continue to focus on our service, product development, software-based ecosystem that we have been building to make sure that the customer gets the good experience. So that will continue to happen. At the same time, we'll be continuing to invest in the R&D to build better products for different parts of the Indian geography, continuing the R&D that is required to make sure that we become one of the leading players in the India's electric commercial vehicle segment in the both three-wheeler cargo passenger and the four-wheeler market that we are operating in.
But remember, we are having a conversation with Euler Motors, which has recently raised funding. All right, Saurav, I've lost that line with you, but if you can hear me, let's also talk about your partnership with the MotoCorp. How significant is that partnership with the company in how this is going to shape your growth trajectory in the electric commercial vehicle sector?
So their investment is of a significant value because, they are like one of the leading player in the Indian automotive space. They backing Euler signals the confidence that they have in the Euler's execution, especially in the India's electric commercial vehicle segment. So it's a great step. And I think from here, what we are going to look in the next 2 years, I think we'll make sure that the success that we have generated in the Delhi NCR, Chennai, Hyderabad, some of these tier 1 cities, we bring them to the emerging tier 2 cities of India.
Right, Saurav, now speaking of the electric commercial vehicle market, now that's becoming increasingly competitive. So how does Euler Motor plan to really differentiate itself and still maintain a competitive edge?
So if you look at Euler's product, I think from day one when we had launched the electric three-wheeler cargo, which is October 21, our focus was always on delivering the performance of diesel, CNG, petrol, but have the efficiency of EVs. That has been our number one focus from day one, that customers should not feel like EVs are inferior product in any ways than the existing fuel engine vehicles. So today, when I look at a three-wheeler that we have built, it is the best, three-wheeler cargo vehicle, which happens to be electric. So product is definitely one of, and even if you look in the four-wheeler, we are one of the first ones to bring ADAS, some of the competitive edge in the product, and it has one of the highest payload carrying capacity, efficiency in that particular price segment that we are looking at. So product but then associated services that we have been building, for instance, you have the fast charging capability in the Storm, which is our four-wheeler cargo. In the long range capacity, you can do 200 kilometer on a single charge, and then in 15 minutes you can get additional 100 kilometers. So having those kind of capabilities also enhances the amount of revenue our customer can directly generate from these vehicles, and these all backed by our software. So at the back end we are doing preemptive maintenance, which makes sure the downtime of our vehicles are one of the least in the segment. So when the customer, when they're buying these vehicles, they're not just buying a product, but they're also looking at the services that are encompassing the entire product and the ecosystem together. And that's something that I think Euler is very, very good at, and that definitely underscores our investment that we have been making in our, I would say, engineering, technology, software over the last couple of years. And some of the key components like battery, for instance, Euler has been making from day one, investing in the thermal engineering, investing into electronics. And these, what it helps is brings you like warranties like 5 years, when 3 years back in three-wheeler, when nobody was thinking about. Today in four-wheelers, we are giving 7 years warranty on the battery back. So that also gives people some kind of comfort that these vehicles are going to see 7 years, 10-year life cycle. And that, I think, is what will continue to push that trajectory going forward. And that would be our, I would say, the competitive edge that we'll maintain.
Right. So you want to focus on, product innovation, and of course, service is something that you're stating that is going to be your competitive edge. Saurav, help us also understand, because you are a commercial EV company, give us a sense of the kind of partnerships that you have. Which sectors are these partnerships coming in from? And what are you looking at in terms of expansion of these partnerships? Do you plan to go beyond the metro cities and, the sectors in which you operate in?
So when you Smita, think about partnership, right? So for a company like Euler, I mean, even though we're a startup, I mean, at the end of the day, you're a manufacturing product company. So in your supply chain, you would have partners across India, the Indian supplier ecosystem that is giving you from whether it's the BIW materials, or whether it's tire, suspension, brakes, or some of the materials around your batteries and electronics. So you have partnerships over there. And as you're building three-wheeler, four-wheeler, and different product, these partnerships are increasing. Your India localization percentages are increasing. So you're investing more and more in that. When it comes to, let's just say, sales, earlier we used to build our own network, but over the last 2 years we have been onboarding dealer partners, and with them we have now been extending that. So like, for instance, going from 40 to 100 cities, we would be adding around roughly 60 to 80 more partners in our sales journey. If you come to let's just say partnerships in terms of charging ecosystem, then again, we earlier used to have some of our own networks then, but we started working with all of your charging station network providers. Recently we also worked with Tata Powers with their charging station network. If you come to financing, so earlier and even today, we are continuing to add your fintechs, your NBFCs and banks, and to finance these vehicles. And as you're going pan India, you need more and more of these partners across that. So that ecosystem of partner, I mean, has been on a phenomenal rise, I think, and that has been across all the segment that Euler is touching.
Okay, one final question, Saurav, before we let you go. Talk to us about your financials, and as a company, are you profitable? If not, then when is it that you're targeting profitability for the company?
So, Smita, when we think about profitability, we are looking at like at least 3 to 4 year EBITDA target. That's one of the thing, that how do we become EBITDA neutral in the and then we are tracking that metric through your journey from material margin to gross margin to contribution margin, and going all the way to EBITDA. Of course, becoming profitable has you require a predictability in your sales volume, and also at the same time you need a higher gross margin. So both of them have been on rise. And in fact, if I'm talking about sustainability in terms of volume, you would have seen us going from 3% market share back in three-wheeler cargo that we used to have in 21-22. Today we have 11-12% market share. We are doing roughly 500 vehicle per month sort of volume, and we would want to get that to, let's just say, 1,000 vehicle volume in next 12 to 15 months. In terms of your margin profile, our reliance on subsidy that has been there significantly, that has pushed the EV ecosystem. We have reduced that reliance, and today without subsidy also our products are profitable. But at a company level, it will take time because you're still investing in capacity, you are investing in going to build that brand awareness, you are investing across the ecosystem. You are going from these 40 and you might have to go to 400, 600 touch points before you will be able to see that entire scale and the economics of that helping your lift basically your EBITDA neutrality. So I think this is going to be a 3 to 4 year journey, and we are very, very, I would say, focused in making sure that we achieve those targets.
Right. So right now you're focusing on growth, but you will also be looking at expanding your margins and profitability. Saurav, you say that is going to take at least 3 to 4 years. Until then, you will be expanding in infrastructure. You'll be focusing on servicing the customers well in terms of your partnerships, and of course, we'll be focusing on product development. Well, on that note, thank you very much for taking the time out and speaking to us right here on ET Now.
Thank you, Sumita, for having me on the show. Thank you very much.